I want your commitment to beauty. What does this look like?
I don't know. The art community.
The art community has an issue.
Slowly growing to become one of the most toxic communities on social media.
And this drama is kind of insane.
The art community.
We as a community.
We'd all eat, be happy.
She doesn't even go here. This is going to be... this will probably freak or piss off a few people.
I want to talk about nothing less than the future of art on YouTube. I debated for weeks whether I should or shouldn't make this video because I don't want to make a video that sounds like I'm just complaining or ranting, but after months of observing and analyzing, I have come to the unsettling conclusion that YouTube basically must hate artists, or at the very least doesn't care about them. And even more alarmingly, is actively replacing and suppressing traditional art on the platform. And
To figure out the overlap between art and design, let's Venn diagram this situation. In the design circle, curators, scholars, and collectors might put objects made for a practical purpose. Think toasters, furniture, buildings. In the arts circle, they might put objects created for a museum or gallery, like paintings and sculptures, meant to evoke an emotional or personal reaction.
But the whole thing that I want to ask the art community is, yes, you're creating artwork, but to the art community, is what you're creating considered art?
Dun, 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 dun.
Hi, pigs.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for coming, and if you're revisiting, props. I'm Henry Haight, multidisciplinary artist, and this is my YouTube channel where we discuss all things art, the creative process, my opinions, my advice on navigating through an art career, as well as just random thoughts on, you know, the art process and just art in general. It is about the art community. And a few weeks back, I made a video called The Ballad of Kelsey Rodriguez, and how a particular YouTuber posted a video on particular YouTubers, content creators who claim to be a particular artist or expert on certain things. And for the most part, you know, like I said, I apologize to Kelsey for making a public comment on a particular channel. I do apologize to Kelsey for what I said online. Because, yeah, it was just unfair. It was unfair, but what I have noticed is that people kind of watch the beginning of the video and then kind of shut off. And like most YouTubers, and I've said this before, that you have to virtually entertain a younger generation of viewership within a matter of minutes. Otherwise they're like, yeah, I'm bored. And I'm not putting bells and whistles, because that's not me, although I look like I'm having bells and whistles, but I'm rocking Vivienne Westwood, so but essentially I said, you know, only time will tell if she's an artist. And a particular individual got their panties in a bunch and just, you know, I wouldn't say the vitriol of... Okay, here it is. What I've noticed with certain comments are certain people who've sent me messages and shit like that, is that they just automatically go on the attack. And, you know, that's fine. I'm a 56-year-old man. I can take it. But I'll say one thing. I'm not going to take shit from some guy who's using an avatar with a fucking snail.
You want to say something? You want to say something? I ain't slapped a bitch in 2 weeks.
And, you know, I'm not losing sleep over it because I don't fucking care. that being said, I started this channel to speak to certain individuals who are truly looking to virtually expand their creative ideas, their visual vocabulary, as well as kind of getting into the process of sharing my failures and stuff. There have been really high highs and absolute fucking lows, and you're speaking to someone who ran a successful tattoo shop for 19 years and been at the creative art, trying to be an artist now since I started 91 when I started volunteering for Tom of Finland, and virtually it has been an uphill climb. And you know, I've been able to do a lot of stuff, but the weird thing is that this one particular guy goes, "Oh, you're just jealous." And I know a few months back I made a comment on a particular art community's I can't remember what, but I was like, this isn't art, this is just content. And you know, when you look at artists' content, you can tell which ones actually make content. Like my art Instagram, I'm awful at self-promotion within social media because it's just a fucking rabbit hole. But that's primarily art. My personal Instagram is just like different things, my art and life and whatever, friends and stuff. More personal to me. This one particular person just said I was jealous, or I was salty, and you know, it's comments like that make my nipples go hard, and don't affect me, because my career and my trajectory is going to be different from the next artist to the next artist to the next artist to the next artist. And within the art community, I know there's one thing that people, especially now, especially younger people, I'm looking at millennials and Gen Zers. They're looking for their tribe. Everyone within, you know, their youth is actually looking to like latch to make lifelong friendships and relationships with not in the but the plunk sense of like professional sense, to virtually keep their creative paths as well as their professional work relationships going. And it is a very tough, difficult thing to do, because, you know, I've been with some great art dealers, and I've been with some really shitty art dealers. And truth be told, you know, it's trial and error. And you know, and I've had to virtually find my tribe within London as well as in Los Angeles to associate with particular people. But growing up, I always gravitated to the weird people, musicians, comic book artists, and you know, concert promoters. But these were just the social circles that I gravitated to, and you got to network and stuff like that. And I get the purpose of why people want to have an art community, but the whole thing that I want to ask the art community is: yes, you're creating artwork, but to the art community, is what you're creating considered art? The art community, they dance in their studio, you know, they have theories of how to make thousands of pounds or hundreds of thousands of pounds. They make jewelry, they do anime, they do video game characters, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Oh my god, they bitch, they moan, they still like artwork, they don't like AI. Jesus, take the wheel. Now, a while back I also saw a video, because I'm still kind of getting new to navigating my way through trying to do a YouTube channel myself and virtually kind of leave something. It's not my legacy, but the whole thing is that I just want to share something with those one or two people who are truly interested in trying to navigate how the fuck I did what I did, and just be honest with it. I'm not trying to, if I make a dinner or a bar tab for the night, over a month, great. But I'm not bankrolling on this channel to make me a mint. That's where my work with things come in. But LPF made a video that YouTube doesn't really like artists, because what YouTube considers art is more illustration, anime, cartoons, and targeted towards a much younger audience. And right now, especially since I've said this before, since we've just come out of a very a global tragedy, what I've known in art school is that every time there's been a fall of civilization, culture from literature, music, and art always takes a seismic shift to virtually tell a story, and the viewpoints and opinions of how people feel is prevalent in the work and their creative output. However, the art community is more focused on someone stole my art, and it's anime stuff and manga. And first and foremost, there's nothing wrong with drawing anime and manga and stuff, and I do like that stuff, but to me, to be frank, it's a little juvenile for my taste. And that'd be like me hanging out in a fucking playground going, hey, I like this stuff. And and most of the manga that I've seen, apart from the childish stuff, it's always big tits, big eyes, and there's a principle formulaic format of how to draw these things that outside of that it doesn't really change all that much, with big doe eyes and the tiny mouths and the big heart-shaped heads, but is it art? And a lot of this stuff would look great on a greeting card, a coloring book, and all artists start somewhere. But the thing that I find fascinating is the juvenile vitriol, as well as the direct attack that certain people go on, and when I just said this stuff, art should be about having a critical thought, a debate, different views of opinions, but at the same time there seems to be this toxic positivity of like, oh great, yeah, go, this is what an artist is. And lifetime artists, I don't want to say it's a lonely life, but you were pretty much working in seclusion, alone, and away from any kind of distractions, and you kind of have to ebb and flow with new people coming through and virtually trying to find your footing, as well as find a creative tribe that, one, isn't going to rip you off or take your shit and virtually sell it off, or just disappear. But on the flip side of that, I've made some lasting relationships and friendships with other artists that were in the same boat as me, and I'm very thankful for that. And I get what the art community wants to do as a whole. If you're dealing with people who are working only focused on the digital sphere and don't go anywhere outside of the real world, or virtually having to deal with rejections and stuff, it's kind of a one-sided viewpoint and argument in my opinion. And again, the purpose of this channel is only to give my opinions. It's not gospel. Within the art community, it seems to be, from what I've seen, I tried to watch a video and I couldn't get past 2 minutes, because I do feel like it's kind of like watching the Teletubbies to me, and there's something soothing about watching the Teletubbies, you know, with the ASMR and the little baby son and stuff like that. Yes, I get it. But, you know, one of the things that I do love about certain influences is that there are fine artists that have taken some of that. Takashi Murakami, and one of my favorites, Yosho Timonara. Takashi Murakami does the Happy Flowers, and some of his work also veers on the adult side again, with the big tits, or the guy with the semen ring coming around and all happy. You know, Jeff Koons, you know, did, you know, chintzy tchotchke porcelains in large scale, banging his wife at or his ex-wife, and this kitsch, and you know, there is room for kitsch in art, yes, but the whole thing is that at by and large is what the YouTube art community do art. Does it have a message? And this is where we can start to debate. You know, there's art, then there's decor, which I consider that shit that they sell at like Hobby Lobby and IKEA, that, you know, people just put on their walls, and they're just what's the word I'm looking for? Posters and you know, canvases that, you know, glorified prints of something that's just like mass produced. And there are artists who on the side virtually do aliases that can license these works to these businesses, and they get a small residual from each item that is sold. I have not done that myself. I've done it for gift shops and museums, to where we break down the sale of something, and I'm given a small percentage of the item. You know, that I don't get any percentage of, you know, covering their costs or whatever like that. But that too can take, you know, a month to sort out. And but that's just one avenue of how you could virtually, you know, make art from those things, from gift cards and stuff. I've done gift cards for the Amy Winehouse Foundation and stuff, and you know, it's an entry-level form to get people to see your work and virtually, you know, build an audience. And you know, most people aren't going to flip out over paying $5 for a greeting card. But back to someone like Takashi Murakami and Yoshi Timonara, where they take the Japanese manga and anime influences and virtually put a spin on it. Primarily Takashi Murakami. Yoshi Timonara I love because he does these really angry children holding knives. You know, I had a dog. My dog Maybelline looked like one of his children, and because she had the and there's something joyful about looking at these things, because they to me, they made me happy. And I get with certain people, when they look at certain artworks that people are drawing within the art community, that it brings them a joy of accomplishment of finishing a drawing and stuff like that. But then the backbiting and kind of like gossiping of so and so stole my art and the AI is doing that. You know, again, we're working with these principles. And here's the reality: when you finish an artwork, you send it out into the world, you have to you have to let it go. And that's a hard thing to do, because it's your baby, it's your visual creation. You've birthed this thing, you know, this two-dimensional thing for the world to see. And you know, I can see why certain people would be overprotective, but at the same time, you know, we have to just say fuck it, you know. And it takes a lot of self-reflection as well as discipline to just not freak out, because not everybody's going to like the stuff that you do. And I'm confident enough in myself to sit there and say, well, I don't fucking care, because I'm not going to lose sleep over it. You know, I've been at this game a long time, and I'm still trying to do this. And but I when I talk about, you know, artwork, decor, as to high art and stuff like that, you know, there are different categories to which how we view certain stuff. And the word, I think a lot of younger influencers and content creators get fixated on the word artist, when, you know, it used to be, oh, they're an illustrator, or they're comic book artists, or illustrate children's books. Now they just want the word artist. They want, I kind of want to get the feeling that they, you know, like the Rembrandt, the Van Goghs, of them sitting in this, you know, lonely thing, and they're suffering for their art, but that makes them an artist. And the whole thing is that for the longest time, it was very difficult for me to want to call myself an artist, because I didn't feel like an artist. I don't know if it was imposter syndrome, or but I do know that a lot of it came from my own inner turmoil and lack of self-confidence, because my parents didn't encourage me to become an artist, you know, and I think I did it purely out of rebellion to prove them wrong. And there is something intrinsic within my wiring that I'm like, I'm going to show these fucking people I can do this shit, and watch me. So, you know, you challenge yourself to virtually think outside of the box. And I have a saying that when you follow sheep, all you're going to see is assholes. And I'm not calling the art community assholes, okay? And I don't hate the art community. I don't, you know, like I said, every artist has to start somewhere. And there are agencies that love that particular type of work. But then at the same time, it can be, especially with manga and anime, is that there is a massive level of competition with these things. So, you know, again, I just thought, well, if I throw my hat into the YouTube ring, maybe people could start seeing different things and put their spin within their own work. That was the whole purpose of this channel. It wasn't to sit there and go, hey, this bitch sucks, and hey, that guy, like, his art's crap. No, it's just to sit there and have a critical break. I don't have to like everything, and I don't expect everyone to like my shit, because sometimes I'll look at it and go, oh, that shit. Especially my early work, I just like, oh, God. When you're bitching about some manga anime thing, you have to think of how trivial it truly is. Or, you know, people who are giving all these hypotheses or theories of what an artist should do. Just if you look at everything and kind of cross-reference your research, you would probably think, well, this is not much of an artist. This is just a content creator. And that's not a bad thing to be a content creator, but, you know, I think now in this whole thing of, like, with the you know, people like to do research or find the receipts, as the kids say, to expose or find the fucking hot tea. Says more about the person who, like, scrapes by, you know, years of tweets and Instagram posts to find something that they might find offensive, because everyone in their life does something offensive or outside the rule books of what polite society calls okay, or, you know, acceptable. And you know, that's what makes us human. We fail and we make mistakes, or we offend, or we do the wrong things, but that's how life is. You know, but I don't aspire, and I don't prescribe or subscribe to the, oh, you're great. You know, if I think something sucks, I'm like, I'm gonna say it. You know, it's gotten me in trouble, and, you know, one particular gallery wouldn't pick me up because The artist, well, I did say, yeah, her work is absolute fucking piss. Cow piss. And I meant it, and it still is. I'm not going to say the artist because I don't think she even shows it anymore. But again, you know, this is, if you're going to be an artist, it is a lifelong journey. It isn't, you know, get the glory now and then that, yeah, because all that shit starts to fade away, and virtually you have to rely on your work to what is it going to say about you. And virtually what do you want to leave behind? If you're just going to leave a bunch of paintings of rocks, tomatoes, or manga with big tits, that, you know, that's fine. But know that that's what you're leaving behind as your marker. One artist that I do find truly fascinating, and I've met him years ago when I was a gallery grouper. Gallery grouper is someone who just goes to all these gallery shows to meet these artists and like sit there and you know, just marvel at their work and look at the person and hope to say 2 sentences to go, oh, they talk to me. And that was Hajime Sarayama, and he is known for doing the gynoids, the robots, and he not too long ago posted a thing to Beyonce about when she was trying to do that robot thing before she turned country. She could have gone to the direct source who made those things. You know, Mugler did it with him, and it, you know, yeah. But out of the 3 Japanese artists, I do love Yoshimoto Nara, Moto Nara, and Hajime Sarayama, because they verge more on the darker aspect of humanity. And, you know, I don't know if I can find a PG 13 artworks for them, but, you know, their work is amazing. So my message for the artwork community, you know, think outside the box. And, you know, there are bookstores that I do go to in London. I like Japan House on Kensington High Street near Piccadilly, which I also call the Japanese Cultural Center, which they have an amazing graphic and art book section. I'm a huge fan of Bushido Japanese tattooing, and seeing shunga, which is the more erotic woodcut illustrations, that, you know, I've spent many dollars or pounds in that place. And but at what YouTube considers art, or within the art community, and what I see as art, no. It falls in line more on the decor, and there's a weird thing, because there's art that can be considered art, that could be furniture and stuff like that. And I know art and whole, and people are going to come for me. No, I'm just giving my opinion that, you know, I'm trying to make certain things to make people think and have an idea or a feeling within my work. Start a dialogue. I don't get that from anime or manga. And there are YouTubers that I do like a lot. I like John O'Dry, who I think his charcoal graphite, you know, he's almost on par with someone like Robert Longo. That Alpe F. I like his paintings a lot. You know, his women are lovely. It kind of has reminiscence of Mel Ramos, but I know some of the other work he does goes more in the science fiction, and I'm not that from that avenue. I come more from the punk rock DIY kind of things, and it's evident in my work. But you know, these are the things that I absorb. An artist is supposed to be a sponge to their culture and their surroundings and reflect those things and how they see the world. That is our job, you know, to make a commitment to beauty.
I want your commitment to beauty. What does this look like?
I don't know. I believe that if you start to actually make true and real creative alliances with artists, and you start to prop each other up and essentially feed off each other's creativity, your artwork, your art and your art process can only get better. That is definitely one thing I've noticed when I've seen other artists and see how they work, as well as hearing their thoughts and share their processes or their rituals of how they prep to do things. And that's one thing I always find really interesting about the art community. They don't actually reference any actual artists outside of YouTubers and content creators, rather as opposed to actual artists, career artists who virtually, you know, stand apart from the rest of the world, or within the industry of making artwork and art. So that is a thing that, you know, I think of them more as illustrations or illustrators. It's not a bad word, it's not a dirty word, but I don't really consider it art. Yes, it is artwork. But, you know, to this guy who virtually really fucking just got, oh, you're living this bullshit, and virtually like told me, bro. I'm like, again, I'm not going to take shit from some snot-nosed fuckhead who's going to call me bro. Only douchebags use that fucking word. I certainly don't. And if I was going to really, you know, lean into that shit, I would, you know, get to the, you know, bite their head off and get to the creamy center. But I'm not going to like, because I don't care. But again, I'm only making these to inspire the one or two people who really start to like research and see these things, because eventually it's going to change how they make their art and their artwork, and that's what's going to set them apart and get them noticed, as opposed to, you know, like I said, if you follow sheep, all you're going to see is assholes. So there it is, with my holy sweater and, you know, designer rings, pow. I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, the whole job is for you to do your research, look at what you find interesting. To the people who are watching this and subscribing, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like and notification button, and let me know what you think in the comments. Keep watching, keep creating, and be yourself outside the box. All right, guys, take care. Take it easy. Bye.
I want your commitment to beauty. What does this look like?
I don't know.